Welcome back, my dear crime lovers. This is a new episode of the history of the American Mafia, brought to podcast by Fabio Fabiano and translated and read by me, Grace Cadlisi. Enjoy this new episode. Today I'm going to talk about Maranzano, the boss of bosses. Once Masseria had been killed, betrayed by Lucky Luciano, Maranzano was proclaimed the winner of the Castellamarese War. Lucky Luciano, as promised, was rewarded and was appointed head of the faction previously led by Masseria, the same mafia family which later will be known as, and still is today, as the Genovese family. Furthermore, Maranzano gave his blessing to 3 other factions who had been loyal to him during the fight with Joe the Boss. He effectively split the New York underworld into 5 families and established roles. As a lover of the history of the Roman Empire, he organized the mafia families in legions, and thus establishing well-defined hierarchical roles. At the head of each family, there was a boss or representative who undisputedly would lead the family. The vice or deputy was to support the boss and become the principal executive. The band that actually worked on the streets were formed of 10 or more loyal members, or picciotti, as they were referred to using a Sicilian term which literally means boys. These groups were led by a regime leader or captain nominated by the boss himself. The members of the mafia families were invested with the same obligations as those of the Sicilian mafia. The violation of these principles was sanctioned with death. The associates blindly obeyed the boss's orders, and the leaders made sure of that. It was prohibited to kill or offend any member of a mafia family, nor could they harass any of their wives or girlfriends. They were obliged to take a vow to the code of silence and could never disclose the secrets of the mafia families, neither give information about its members. Furthermore, Maranzano planned to appoint himself as boss of bosses. This would not only apply to the city of New York, but also to the other areas where mafia families were present and operated. This irritated Lucky Luciano to a great degree. Maranzano organized a meeting with all the members of the various mafia families in a hotel in Washington Avenue in the Bronx to declare his self-proclamation as the undisputed leader of the entire American Mafia. The meeting was hosted in a large hall, as there were between 400 and 500 men participating. Apparently, it seems that either a particular saint was celebrated on the date of the meeting, or a religious character had been intentionally given to the event. Masseria was very observant of Christian religious precepts, although the crimes in which he was involved in weren't exactly a demonstration of the principles of Christianity. The hall was filled with crosses and statues of saints. His speech to the guests was crystal clear. He declared that from that moment all hostilities were to end, and warned the participants that from that very day a new course was to begin, which would prove to be useful and profitable for everyone involved. He explained that the families were to be organized efficiently with the strict rules I told you about earlier. Then he proclaimed himself boss of bosses. However, Maranzano ended up being worse than Masseria. With so many issues to deal with, he was too busy to be able to satisfy the requests of all those who had risked their lives to help him succeed in the conflict with Masseria. And if that wasn't enough to initiate malcontent, he also demanded a sum of money from each family for the various rackets they dealt with. Among those who were most disappointed was Lucky Luciano. He had various expectations by which, one by one, he was systematically let down. 5 months had passed since Masseria's killing, and Lucky had heard that Maranzano considered him and his non-Sicilian allies, including Vito Genovese, Joe Adonis, Frank Costello, Al Capone, and Dutch Schultz, dangerous elements. Tommy Tredita Brown Lucchese, or as he was known, Tommy Three Fingers Brown Lucchese, a friend of Luciano's and a professional two-timer, had heard that Maranzano was organising Luciano's murder, entrusting him to Vincent Crazy Dog Coll, who was to shoot him down with a machine gun. As soon as he was informed about the boss of bosses' murderous plan, Luciano once again prepared to strike first. Many bosses approved of the killing of Maranzano, even some members of his own Castellamarese clan, such as Stefano Magaddino from Buffalo. Meanwhile, Maranzano had moved his office from Little Italy to a Manhattan skyscraper in the building overlooking Grand Central Terminal. By now, he felt that he belonged to a higher social level, superior to the American gangsters, and therefore he decided to move his headquarters where important New York financiers and entrepreneurs had their offices.